Hello, my name is E524 and welcome to another video on Carcus World. I think this is like part 11 or something. I don't know. Got massive brush sizes currently. So last time where we left off, we had, did some craziness. We've had a couple of new ideas. A couple of new ideas enter the field. And, yeah, it's been a couple years, and now we're about to enter big war. I've literally written out everything out over there so I can remember how to do this. Okay, so it goes. Well, of course, we first start off with the usual beginning expansion because, seriously, that's kind of how this goes at the beginning. Because, seriously, there's always a tiny bit of expansion. I just actually. Yeah, so let me just quickly go down to here. Go grab this, and let me go quickly do some of the expansion things that I always do. Okay, we back, and we're back. Not much, just some expansions down here, expansions up on the borders in some different areas. Hulu, of course, expanding along the coast like they have been, or just getting to making this level. And yeah, well, now on to the big story that I have planned for today. Another huge war. Now, the last huge war we had was Humana's War with, I can't remember the name of the Blue Elven country that existed right here. But Humana, the Blue Elven country, together against several people against Cha, Ulp, Shim, and the Pickle Empire. It was crazy, and yeah, that was a fun story, but that was like several hundred years ago, like back in year 300. It's been 300 years since then. Of course, now it only exists in history books, and for some people, of course, this world has been developing faster than ours ever did, but story is a story, I do what I want with it. But anyways, now you might be wondering why I'm bringing this up. Well, that is because today there will be another huge war. It has something to do between these alliances, but also some tension relating magicians. Now, of course, all of that expansion I just covered. It actually has been a little bit since that happened, bringing us up all the way to year 700 there. Well, now on to this. So, former Ulap-Ulip, the Kulu, and the uh, um, Akali have been in an alliance for years. Now, Foma is annoyed about something. The Pickle Empire's massive monopoly on magicians. They control three of the four, three of the four. Am I having issues scrolling in and out? Okay. Anyways, despite the fact that my there fixed that I was using but anyways, so and even then even when people try to use their area, like the Pickle Empire just been staring at them, making sure they did nothing with this singular spot that they control. And at this point, they've had enough. So they send an ultimatum to Pickleia, Avonia, and T'Challa, saying, "You will either give us your land, you will either allow us to come and enter your area so we can go kill the Pickle Empire and their alliance with the Lemurian Republic and Mocha, or we can just invade you." Pickleia and T'Challa said, "Oh yeah, sure." Avonia said no, because they've learned quite a little bit after the war with Humana towards the start of this series. And they were like, yeah, no. And then, of course, this alliance was sort of like, fine, you choose war. So they started marching into T'Challa with their new ally of T'Challa and Pickleia, but Avonia, and they started marching across. Because, they just don't have any respect. The fact that they just don't want to enter a war that they know they might lose. And so they just start marching in and say, going, you refuse to do this. And they got far. Not only because they have a massive border, but also because, just cause. And also now, because of their friend T'Challa, they have been able to start invading from other areas in, like, the south, in the east, allowing them to totally demolish their thing, and even managing to make landfall closer and closer to their homeland, which, is never a great thing for a government if they want to stay in power. Losing your homeland to enemy invaders, not the best look for a government. That's something. So, but then, now they're ready for their big invasion. I'm going to always be using the color of the people who are next to Pickleia, since they didn't quite yet have a border to have funnel troops in, decided that they're going to go simple. They're going to just invade from the north by themselves to finally take some of this pickle land from the south. So, by the way, when I say sentient pickles, I don't mean the Ayo type kind, I mean like pickled cucumbers, okay? If you somehow thought that was what I meant, I am sorry, that is not true. So they just started invading from the north, getting really close to the bordering the magic land, but that land is very heavily defended, so they never were able to managing to take it. But They were making massive strokes of progress, as you can see right here from this, taking several of these northern cities. Well, T'Challa leapt at their chance here to finally destroy the land that was once Humana once and for all. They invaded the Pickle Republic because, I mean, why not? And, they did so, taking strokes of land around here, just getting nice and powerful. And even, entering the Pickle Empire, which, is a kind of stupid idea, because, I mean, they're huge. They're the biggest country on this map. And then, of course, getting into the Lemurian Republic. Probably the stupidest decision they could have made, but we'll see that by the end of this. They started invading, taking these northern cities, getting to the border with Hope, and, starting this. Now, this was catastrophic. Like, there have been no invasion like this for ages, or a war like this for ages. Not since the big war with Humana. So, yeah, nobody was quite prepared for this. And Avonia was getting beaten up with this two-front constant war. They were having issues, constant issues. They were getting very close to the brink of collapse. Now, well, the front here had stalled because of the simple fact of that, these countries here are much harder nuts to crack than, say, Elvonia, because they're much stronger. Pickle Empire has more population, and Woodrow Republic has got innovative military tactics. Well, Elvonia doesn't really have neither of those. I mean, sure, they've got the massive they got quite a big population, but the thing is that they're also the only elven country. It's not like they could call onto onto some other countries for companionship. The Lunar Republic, I mean, they could call on so many different human countries. Well, the Republic did have their, this, and not to mention, they had an entire extra colony. So, they were getting, but the front here had stabilized, okay? Stabilized. Now, and I say stabilized because, yeah, but Elvonia was getting pounded. Just pounded. And they were getting very, very close to just giving up. Because what could they do? They don't have any good friends, and everyone else is a little bit busy defending their own borders. And so, yeah, there was that. So they just kept getting pounded. And, of course, eventually they did it was basically a murder spree for this entire alliance, just getting everywhere, just getting into every nook and cranny of the Elronian landscape. Eventually, they managed in this northern region to hook up with their ally Picoliat, because they just finally did, meaning that now they could start funneling troops in. And that was not the best thing. There was little holdout, and I mean little holdout here, managing to just hold on especially through some crazy logistics tactics by the Pickle Empire to get some stuff in there to help them hold out. But Arvonia was not looking the greatest. I mean, the majority of their country was under siege at this point. It is crazy that they did not capitulate, but their main capital and homeland hadn't quite yet completely been destroyed, so I mean, there's that. But they were still getting demolished. I mean, really think about it. Also, they're kind of not the most up-to-date, because, they had been focused on keeping the elven population happy. Now, meanwhile here, T'Challa had managed to make a breakthrough in the Pickle Empire, managing to break out and take several more cities and around, and he'd even start getting to the Lemurian Republic from other areas, and completely shut off their communications other than sea. It was looking bad. And this is when Meat and Mew decided to strike. They was like, wait, they're falling. This could be this could be the best chance to get bigger and finally end this. So, Lulu decided to come and start invading the Pickle Empire, because that's the only one with a border they actually had. So they just started going up into here. Oh, running through the ground. Now, of course, this is not looking good for the Pickle and Republican Republic's alliance and their newfound friend in Elvonia. Not at all. And this was just not looking at all that great. I mean, Newt had jumped in, causing an even bigger war, more fronts, more people on one side. It was not looking the greatest. I mean, this was like crazy. Like, there was this one side that had like, how many people was it? Like seriously, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people against only 3 and their 3 puppet states. And of course, then Newts started invading here. I mean, they couldn't make it to this because of Communist Falls, and it is not looking good for them. But then, and so this is how things looked for a little bit. Elvonia, I mean, from here the front had stabilized once again, more or less. Picklia did make a couple more gains in Elvonia, complete, like, of course, crushing pockets. Not quite crushing this pocket up here, though. They did manage to steal one of their pockets, the pocket cities, and they managed to make a bit more in headway in their homeland, taking a couple more cities, linking up with them. So once again, not looking the greatest, but Elvonia, they even managed in the north to make a couple minor gains. But I mean, when you're Elvonia and you're getting crushed, honestly, any minor gain is kind of a victory at this point. Just taking back a city or meters of land is really a victory at this point. Then Newt decided to send something to the Commune of Falls, going like, "Oh, hey, look, we're defeating the person next to you. How are you notice?" But the Commune of Falls doesn't take that type of a belligerent talking all that well, because so they were totally like, "Wait, you want us to go on a war because, yeah, they got annoyed at that because they didn't want to be told what to do, so they decided to do the opposite: invade Newt's colony, and without Newt knowing, they just managed to just straight up conquer the entire colony because they were just quick and fast about it. So Newt now just lost in a massive place that they could have used for for population. And that's just screwed Newt up. Because once they realized, they went into a panic. Enough so that the Pickle Empire was managed to finally repeal their entire invasion into their territory, out of their territory, and of course let the Linwoodian Republic fix their Newt invasion so much because of just Newt's chaos at this point. And then when Willow realized that Newt was having issues, they had to funnel in troops to keep Newt from losing any territory in their integral area, thus allowing some weaknesses in the line, which thus allowed the Pickle Empire to start pushing in from their side, taking all of the, managing to push them farther out of their territory, And then, because Newt and Rue had been very much subsidized, T'Chaw was getting pushed back out of their land, because now they also had to funnel troops into Newt and Rue to stop them from collapsing. And this, of course, but Picklia was that front did not move. And because of this, the Linwoodian Republic managed to also, make some gains in their homeland, pushing them away from their home to stop them from completely taking over their homeland. And, so that was looking in very good hopes for them. And it was, but you might be wondering, well, what about the countries out there? Well, the thing is that, since they're so far away and they had to go through here, I'm not showing them in colors, but to note, they have definitely been helping with, like, artillery, with these big front by supplying troops. Then, the Pickle Republic, the Pickle Empire's little puppet state, managed to push T'Challa completely out of their territory, and then helped the Pickle Empire push them a bit more out of their territory, which, meant that they got a tiny bit more autonomy because as a little gift, we're helping them. Now this and Avonia, because now there's some newfound supply runs from the Pickle Republic up through this river because of their better supplies and such, managed to start pushing them back out of their homeland and finally started reclaiming Elvonian land. This pocket managed to break down into the river, this reconnecting connections once again, and Elvonia just, finally managed to do things, especially with some help from some Lumurian battle strategists. Because now that they could be spared in their home, because, they were finally getting let up on over there. And so, it was wild. They managed to destroy many of the army over here in this section of Elvonia. Up here just started getting pushed away. They're just getting pushed back on basically all fronts. Although Piccolia at this point managed to fortify its areas, and there's no moving here until it collapses, which is not for a little bit, because they're not the first ones to collapse. That is others. And then the Lothian Republic and Pickle Empire made this little logistics plan to finally take out Newt and Lulu to save them one front. So the Lothian Republic pushed in from the east in Newt, completely decimating their armies in the east and just completely, like I said, decimating them, taking on Newt one-on-one relatively easily, because it's the Linwoodians and they've got very good battle strategy. And then the Pickle Empire, of course, since they agreed that the Pickle Empire will focus on Lulu and the Pickle Republic will focus on Newt. So they first got them out of their homeland. That was the first priority for messing up Lulu. From there, it was invading Lulu. Just relatively easy. Lulu's even smaller and weaker than Newt. So they just, managed to go down relatively easily, and once they completely destroyed their border with Newt, started encircling their capital, little bit by little bit, they just completely collapsed. From there, they just decided to start helping Linwood out with their invasion of Newt. Just, invading from the west, and then eventually Newt fell as well. Now, with that front completely cleared up, T'Challa was next on the chopping block, because they're actually slightly weaker than Pickleia, because the Pickles have a little bit of more special abilities, primarily because they use telekinesis to move their weapons and armor, yada yada yada. So the first thing they did was push them out of their own lands, because of course that's what you want to do first. Get them out of your own lands first, help raise morale for reclaiming your lands. It's a relatively simple idea for a battle strategy. And so, first clear them out of the lands. Check that box right now, because that was honestly very, very, very easy when you think about it. And so they just first started off by completely getting them out of their homelands, and then, beginning the usual and typical invasion from the east, taking out massive swaths of their army in these massive maneuvers because of their, better army and more population. From there, they then, also helped out a tiny bit. Then, of course, they pushed in from the west, taking even more land, pushing upwards and around. It became just a very easy fest to just finally get back up to chalk for what they had done. Now, tonight, I am speeding through a lot of minor events. Why? Because they're minor. We don't need to care about them. And also because I don't want to make this an entire hour-long video. I don't like to do hour-longs because they're boring and I lose a lot of video retention. Not like I agree anyways. So, but T'Challa just, collapsed. With their capital going down, their army just felt no resolve to fight. From there, T'Challa got kind of split up, looking like this in terms of military occupation for the time being. They would figure out the entire, treaty once they've defeated this. Now, Elvonia. Now, for their part, thanks to all this their help, and now, even with T'Challa taken out, they managed to, get out and take back all of their land that was taken by Kulu and the others. Managed to take it all back. Not Piglia, though. Well, they have made some minor gains. I mean, by minor, I mean just like this little swath of land in this city. And push them away from this city a little bit. But nothing crazy, but morale is morale. Now that former Akali Ulap and Kulu realized that their home was getting threatened, they got really, really worried really, really, really fast. And they should be, because Akali, they did not realize it. But he had fallen. Even across the river. Because Livonia was invading to get some payback for them invading them. And I mean, you see that that's not good. So then, with their armies partly decimated by trying to help Piglia, Mulu, and T'Challa a lot, meant that some like Akali and Kulu's armies were absolutely decimated in that fighting. Kulu basically had no army remaining. They just got completely destroyed by Linwood, just getting pushed halfway up their entire country, losing their capital. Livonia now has a new vigor because they were wanting to dispense punishment on the people who had done so much to them. So, that led to Ulap losing some stuff. Akali continued to lose stuff in their southern portion. Piglia still holding, although of course, getting pushed back on all fronts. Just tiny bits. That was not the best. Just tiny bits along, especially the Elvonian line, which is no longer seen as important, and tiny bits of the Picklian line. Why do I keep doing tiny bits of this Picklian line? The pickle line. And then from Kulu, the entire collapse of this northern group just fell because Kulu fell within a year. It fell, getting pushed up all the way, started threatening their homeland. I'm going to pretend that this area has been taken by the Illuminatians because I don't want to mess with the color. Now, Ulap got partly invaded in the south, getting their capital taken away completely, and then in Fulmar, from their position in the magic area, continued to move across the north, getting farther and farther. Then the Elvonians also managing to get further and further into Ulap, losing more and more of their southern portion, and with their capital gone, they took a lot to defend it. So their southern flank collapsed. Which, of course, this is kind of telling you that, you're kind of screwed. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious at this point. So, yeah, from the south, more invasion. Akali just completely collapsed, surrendering. So then, Omar just had to accept what that meant. From over here, getting partly invaded, losing their entire newest portion of their empire to Oronia, to the east, also getting some stuff lost to Oronia, which was the last people they thought they would lose to. And then Linwood just took the rest. They lost all of it. All due to the fact that they just refused to accept that Piglia the Pickle Empire was going to have a monopoly. So, what is this PCO going to look like? Well, that's what I'm going to do right now. So, let's start looking first at Newt and Moo. First of all, Commune Falls gets the entirety of the Newt colony because that is just compensation for helping them in the war. Now, what about Mulu? Now, since Mulu doesn't have any colonies, it was once Commune Falls, but we all know that that got lost. So, what happens? Well, Mulu is actually gonna still exist. Shocker. But they are gonna get some, land taken away on their border with the Pickle Empire. But I mean, it's better than completely dying. I mean, it definitely is better than completely dying, so there's that. Silver lining, I guess. As I quickly find Yu's color to color them. Now, Newt also is going to have, has already lost their entire colony, which is massive punishment, but they do still need to lose some land. They lose this northern section to the Pickle Empire, and lose some of this western section to the Lumwoodians, and of course they have their capital right there. I'm gonna make sure I put that out so I don't forget. So yeah, I mean, better than dying, completely dying, which of course is always a plus. But I mean, if you prefer to and Newt also lost their entire colony, so there is that in terms of punishment, which is kind of excessive. They lost more land than Mulu, but these guys didn't want to be too overly harsh on two people that just jumped at the chance to possibly get more land or maybe get revenge or something. Now, it's these others that are going to get the worst punishments. Why? Because they were the first ones to aggress. And you might be wondering, oh, what about Picklia? Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, in terms of the Picklian front, it collapsed after the collapse of their friends. By collapse, I mean completely collapsed. With no friends to help, they just, they collapse, okay? Believe me on this, I create the story, you don't. Don't be a toxic fan base, if there even are true fans of this series out there in the universe. Hopefully there are, because I put a lot of work into making this, hopefully a fun story. Better. Now, back to the coloring. So, that is all relatively still exists, but in reduced states. Now, what about Picklia? I mean, first of all, they lose quite a bit of their land to the Pickles, which is already a kind of sad thing, losing your land to your own kind. So yeah, they will also be becoming a puppet of the Pickle Empire because they're fellow Pickles. They don't want to completely destroy them, but they kind of need to be. But they're still going to be semi-independent. And then, of course, Elvonia gets some compensation for, very much hurting their people in many, many ways. So, Picklia now exists in a reduced state. Not completely destroyed. Nowhere near that, in fact. This must be from some of the other. One other layer, just ignore that. It's fine. So, yeah, there's that kind of silverish lining. Not really. You kind of had the majority of your autonomy taken away. Now, T'Challa is also going to get a bit of a punishment. Once again, the typical loss of land up here in the north. Primarily to all of this to, Elvonia as compensation. Blah, 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 blah. We all know the reasons for this. Then they lose a bit of land over here. Let me get my book all of this land, including in part of their capital, all to the Pickle Republic as compensation for, hey, you helped us defeat Cha in your own little way, so you get a little bit of more land in return for that. This southern bit to the Pickle Empire as compensation, and then this northern bit is going to become its own country because seriously, they really want to try to limit power. And then the remaining bits is going to just become puppet of the Woodian Republic. So yeah. But what is this new section gonna be? I am gonna figure that out right now. We don't have a good red one, so here's a red one. Here you go for you. I shall call you Filma. We've got Filma now. With their new capital city being built right here. Now, Akali, Filma, Lip, and Kulu are a lot harder to deal with because of their farness away from these ones. But one thing we do know is that there's going to be some interesting exclaves here where this is now in the possession of the Pickle Republic. Let me just quickly write this in. The Pickle Empire owns this right here. Now, and then Kulu is going to, of course, lose their southern portion to their, let me just move their name over to, of course, over to, Elvonia, because compensation. And of course, since they lost their capital, they're gonna have to, make a new one right here. And of course. Now, Akali, of course, loses land. At this point, it's primarily just losing land because compensation. Okay, they need compensation for the pain they caused to Elvonia and what they had done. So it gets kind of boring because I'm just going to be saying, I'd basically just be saying, because compensation, because compensation, because compensation, because compensation. Now, Fulmar is so far away that nobody really wants to have them as like a puppet or something. So, yeah, Fulmar now just gets war reparations. Let me quickly just drop this on my notes later. They get war reparations and reduced military. Then Akali is gonna lose the southern portion to a new puppet state of Elvonia's. Is gonna lose this southern portion to new puppet state. So thus meaning that they still exist. They very much do still exist. Of course, now in a massively reduced state. And then this new puppet state will be called the Ellie, the Elf. I'll call this the Elf. And then Ulup is of course Kulu, by the way, is gonna stay independent. And the Ulup is also gonna become now a puppet of Alvonia, and of course Fulma is gonna now. Let me actually quickly just get the They're gonna also lose their western portion to a new country, which is gonna be called right here. This one is gonna be called the Knolls Pools and fells. I might come up with a better name. I just wanted to have a name. Okay, so there's the no pools and fells country, and yeah, this is a massive, massive change in terms of the world order. Now, yeah, this is a massive change, like I have said billions of times at this point. But like, yeah, because like, think about it, think about the changes that has happened in the past. Like, sure, you have the loss of a country, yada yada yada, but this like, Avonia grew massively in size. Four more puppet states were made. Several, three new countries were made. Some lost massive swaths of land, and others literally, and Fulmar, the big instigator of this, literally got war reparations and reduced military. Like, and honestly, think about how long this took. I really guess in your minds. I don't have your rough comments on, because I just don't want them. So I really, really want to see your guesses on how long this took. It started in year 700. Okay? Now, here's your first little clue. Okay? Here's your second clue. And here's the actual length. It took 11 years. 11 whole years. Okay? Primarily thanks to Piglia. Like, actually, Piglia had been ready. If this would have actually ended, like, 2 or 3 years earlier, if Piglia wasn't so stubborn. They were constantly supplying more supplies to rebellions appear, which constantly meant the war never ended. And then they just themselves refused to stop. And yeah, I mean, so yeah, this has been a very, very long thing. And with a lot of shake-up to this world. So, see you all later. Bye.